a powerhouse of wrestling.
The golds, the silvers.
What's your earliest memory related to wrestling?
They're playing basketball. I'm just messing around. They're warming up.
He was an elite wrestler in India.
I think he's a really good wrestler back then. Wrestling in Surrey, it was popular in our community.
You going to a tournament in Vegas.
They actually got me to sign a letter of intent.
On to become the Oregon State Male Athlete of the Year.
Who left the house at 17 years old. I didn't even know how to do my laundry.
After winning the World Junior Championship in 2014.
What Olympics were, that was my dream.
Would you say that was the advice that changed it for you?
I lost was, hey, you just got to get back to it.
You obviously bounced back in a very strong way to then make it to Olympics in 2020.
And that's where I started my Olympic journey.
Were there other factors just with the Olympics being postponed?
It was COVID during that time, so I didn't get to experience the games.
In terms of how the wrestling circuit is set up today.
They stick around in the sport and help the sport get better.
Your life decisions.
Trying to deal with them one by one.
Your involvement with the Vancouver Police Department.
In the academy, I was still training.
How has that changed?
Still have people that love me. It doesn't matter when.
The entire country of Canada to see. What is your message going to be and why? Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, hello and welcome to the Truth Tribe Show. I'm your host Ravi Toor, and today we will be discussing wrestling, Olympics, grit and determination with a very special guest, Canadian wrestling champion Amar Dhesi. Amar, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ravi.
It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. So Amar comes from Surrey, British Columbia, a powerhouse of wrestling. Amar's journey took him from dominating the mats at Oregon State University to stepping onto the world stage at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, competing in the 125 kg weight class. Amar's wrestling career is studded with achievements. To list off a few, he won the gold medal at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. He won the gold at the 2022 Pan Am Championships in Acapulco, gold at the 2021 Mateo Pelicon Tournament, represented Canada at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, silver at the 2020 Pan Am Championship, silver at the 2020 Mateo Championships, gold at the 2014 Junior World Championship, Oregon State Athlete of the Year, 3 times All-Star American. His dedication and resilience have seen him through incredible challenges, including overcoming 3 ACL tears and 2 surgeries, to not just return to the mat, but to excel, capturing senior gold medals and making his mark at the World Championships. But what makes Amar's story truly inspiring is not just his victories, but his journey. From a young age influenced by his father Balbir, a former elite wrestler in India, and the vibrant wrestling community in Surrey, Amar's dream was to represent Canada on the global stage. Off the mat, Amar is a graduate of the Oregon State University with a degree in sociology and is also part of the Vancouver Police Department. Join us as we dive deep into the story of Amar, a true testament to the spirit of perseverance, the love of sport, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Amar, to start us off though, in your words, who are you and what do you do?
I feel like you just explained it all right there. No, like you said, I'm a kid from Surrey. I grew up in a normal South Asian old household. My mom worked 2 jobs, my dad worked a job, so I have older siblings, and I grew up in a household with all my cousins, all my uncles, like a traditional family usually does that immigrates to Canada. Yeah, I grew up around all my cousins. I was just a normal kid. I didn't know anything. I didn't know I was going to achieve any of this. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to be here, and we can dive into the story a little bit more.
100%. So I'm looking forward to it. So to start off, how do you define success and who do you consider successful?
Yeah, I thought, you know what, it's funny, after Olympics, I actually thought about this quite a bit. I wrote, one of my friends always say that, like, you suck at writing, but I wrote one of my best speeches after, at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the gym at Planet Fitness after I came back from the Olympics. I was all night and days were all mixed up for me because it was in Tokyo, and I thought it was so weird. I wrote this at the gym after I ran on the treadmill, but it went on something like this. Success to me is like how, like, the achievements that you just listed off, the golds, the silvers, that stuff doesn't matter to me. And I feel like any high elite athlete says the same sort of thing. The wins and the accolations and all these medals, trophies I have sitting out of my parents' house, that this stuff doesn't really matter. The success to me is what I've given to get those. What I've sacrificed, how much work I've put in, how much blood, sweat, tears from me, my family, my friends. That's what successful is. And then going through all that and then still trying to achieve more and more. That's success. And I think the success is, and it's just not in sport. I find my parents successful. I find any family that's immigrated to Canada that come from nothing and they made a life for themselves. They're living in a good home. They have a beautiful family. The relationships with their friends and their family is still really good. That's success to me.
That's wonderful. That's very well said. What I wanted to ask you next, and this is just something that I found. So I go deep diving, researching about the people that I'm interviewing. So I found something super interesting when I was researching about you. I don't even know if you know this or not.
I'm a bit
But
scared.
anyways, so do you know that people on the internet actually pay money to get their ass kicked from you?
No, I
No?
can't say I do.
Okay, so this is what I found out. So there's this guy, it goes by the name of the Autistic Gorilla. On Reddit, this guy talks about how he's so eager to get his ass kicked from you. So he did that twice. So first year he started in one of the championships, I think in Oregon when you were there. So he goes and he gets beaten by you and then he talks about it. And then he did the same thing the second year. And then he makes an announcement. I just paid $560 to get my ass kicked by Amar Dhesi. And then he talks about his experience that he lost it again. And I just wanted to check and see, how does that make you feel?
I don't know. I don't know who it is, but I'd like to shake their hand and be like, anytime. I'm glad I could be there for you, but that's really funny. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe you want to check that Autistic Gorilla on Reddit.
I'll look into that.
Let's talk about your early days. What I want to know is what's your earliest memory related to wrestling in your childhood? And what sort of emotions does that remind you of?
Yeah, I think the earliest memories I have, I would say, is like getting my ass kicked a lot. That's for sure. I was getting beat up a lot in the club, but like I was getting early days. I remember is like me picking up my bag, putting my brother's shoes in my bag, getting all the wrestling stuff and putting it in my bag, carrying it for both of us, going to practice, sitting in some small red car that we had back in the day, and my dad would drive us to practice. And we used to train at Khalsa School in Surrey, and they used to lend us their gym, so we used to train there, and that's where like most of the club really started. But this was way back in the day, maybe 20 years ago. Around 20 years ago. I was probably 6 or 7 at the time. And I just remember running around the mat. I remember bothering the older kids while they were playing basketball. I'm just messing around or warming up. Those are the early memories I have. Sometimes I wouldn't want to go. I'd get dragged to practice. I was the kid that stayed home, helped mom in the kitchen, didn't want to leave home, was always around my mom, clinged to her shoulder all the time. But as I got older, I grew out of it, and my dad started dragging me to practice more and more. But yeah, I'd say those are my earliest memories. I have that.
That's beautiful. So you talk about your dad. So let's talk about that. So your dad has a legacy of his own. He was an elite wrestler in India. Then he immigrated to Canada. He opened the Khalsa Wrestling Club, and correct me if I'm wrong, in about 1976, which has been a staple in itself coming up to its 50 years. Can you walk me through that ancestry of yours? I believe your grandfather was in wrestling as well. What kind of impact it had on you while growing up?
Yeah, as a kid, you don't really think about it. I didn't know much besides, oh, my dad's a coach. Oh, my dad started the club. That's all I really knew. I didn't really know much else about it. But as I got older, I got to understand more and more about his life. Because so you got to understand, my dad's 70. Today's actually his birthday. He's 73 today.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so he's a lot older. He's as a parent. And he had me when he was like mid 40s. So I don't really remember him or his highlights or when he was back in the day. I just hear his stories. I remember my earliest memories of him was probably in his 50s, late 50s. So then, but all the stories I've heard from him, they mostly go, hey, he was a man. He was a man back in India. He did a lot of good things in wrestling, and he was a really good wrestler back then. And I know that he came to Canada and with a few friends and with a few of the community members that he wanted to start up a club in wrestling. Mm-hmm. And they got together. They put a club in somebody's basement, I believe. It was one of our family friends' basement. And he started coaching a few kids. From a few kids, it led to a few more, and then it led to hundreds, and now we're probably in the thousands of youth he's coached or like the club has went through for the entirety of its existence. So when you look at it like that, it's amazing. It's crazy how it started off.
Yeah, we are 100%. So first and foremost, pass my birthday wishes to your dad. Happy birthday to him. And definitely the wrestling club has come a long way, right? And it's definitely due to his determination and his love for the sport as well. So growing up, you were a Surrey kid. What was the wrestling scene like in Surrey? How did it help you to become who you are today? And how do you think it has changed over the years?
Yeah, so to go off more of the history a little bit, so there was only one. So back then in the 70s and 80s, 90s, there's only one club. That was Surrey Wrestling Club. That's what Khalsa Wrestling Club was before it was Khalsa Wrestling Club. It was Surrey Wrestling Club. And that's a club that my dad started, my father, and with his friends. And from there, we split into 3 different clubs. because they all came together and they're like, hey, if kids come from Vancouver, Abbotsford to come train here, they all came together like, why not split? And then we can start these summer tournaments, these group cut tournaments that we have today that are still going on to today. So that's what they did. But so there were major clubs in Surrey besides us, besides just Khalsa Wrestling Club at that time after that split. But yeah, for me, wrestling in Surrey, it was popular in our community as it is. It always has been.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know it wasn't popular until I got to high school. So like I always thought, hey, wrestling's huge. Like it's such a big game in Canada. But I didn't really know more, and I found out how small it actually is when I got to high school. And but yeah, I looked. The people that helped me were like the kids in our club, the people that I looked up to. Me and my dad actually talked about this for 2 weeks ago when I was back in Surrey, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, look how like crazy it is that like how grateful I am just because the group of friends that I've had back then that I grew up with, I have to this day, and those are my brothers. Like they mean the world to me. And it's not just because they helped me get good. It's because we went through everything together. Like I wasn't the kid that had elementary friends or had high school friends. Like I didn't have friends like that. All my friends were the guys that I blood, slept, did everything with. Like we went on trips together. They stayed over at my house. These are guys who woke up. We worked out in the mornings, worked out in the afternoons. I got my ass kicked by them. But after that, they'd go get me food to eat. Like those are the guys that helped me get to where I am today. And
yeah, sounds like you definitely grew up with like a camaraderie of friends and brothers around you.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
So reflecting on your early accomplishments, Amar, what is your most memorable achievement in those early days that comes to your mind?
Yeah, so I think it'd probably be when I got into like high school in grade 8, grade 9. That's when those years were really tough for me just because I wasn't good. Like I didn't start off good at wrestling. Like I wasn't one of the kids that stepped on the mat, but like, oh, I'm an all-star. That was I didn't things didn't come easy to me. That's been my life story. Things never come easy, but that's what it is. But yeah, until I got to grade 8, that's when I went. So I grew up in Surrey. I went to a high school in Burnaby, which was about a 30-40 minute drive. But I took the SkyTrain bus every morning. So I bus SkyTrain morning every day to high school. We start off with morning practices and then afternoon practices there and everything like that. But I think the provincial championships in grade 9. I always say this. Those were like the turning point for me. That was like probably one of the greatest wins to this day still. Yeah. Just because it took so much effort, so much determination, so much adversity that I had to go through. Because believe it or not, I actually cut about like 26 pounds.
Oh wow!
Around there to get to the weight class I needed to be at. There was a lot of elements going on. We wanted to win this team title, so the school needed me to go down a weight, and my cousin, he needed to bump up a weight, and he could win any weight class because he was in grade 12 that year and he could have beat everybody anywhere. Yeah. So he bumped up a weight class. I took his weight class over, and I beat one of our kids from our own club in the semifinals that I always lost to in practice. So it was a big year. A lot of things came for me that year.
Yeah. Would you say that was the sort of the turning point in your career where you're like, hey, I could really be good at wrestling if I take it seriously?
Exactly. That was I always took it seriously, but I just wasn't good.
Yeah.
I was a kid that I did all the workouts. I never missed anything. I did it all. I just wasn't good. And then, yeah, like you said, I learned later on that you just don't know what turns it or what flips the switch for you. It could be a practice. It could be a tournament. It could be anything. And that's when I learned that, hey, like I could actually do this. This could be something I could be good at.
Yeah, so something definitely clicked during the provincial championship.
Besides my dad yelling at me in the corner, that's
maybe that worked.
It could have been, yeah. It could have been.
Yeah. So from there, Amar, you also won the 2014 Junior World Championship. After winning the World Championship, this is what I want to understand. So your foundation years, I was reading about it, and there was the mention of you going to a tournament in Vegas. It also said that it wasn't completely fully planned, but anyways, you go to this tournament and you ended up winning the tournament. And then it started the bid war among the universities in the United States to get you on there. Can you walk me through that tournament? What kind of led you to it, and what was the experience like?
Yeah, so this is a funny story. I don't really tell it. We don't really talk about this much, but that's how I got my start in America. That's really what led me to college wrestling. So before that, in grade 11, I went to a tournament in the States. So as kids, we grew up wrestling in the States. We always went across the border to Washington, Ferndale, Seattle, Portland. We hit all these small tournaments, and just because we needed more tournaments because Canada didn't really have many tournaments for kids and wrestling in general. I think Washington has more wrestlers just in one state than all of Canada does. We needed matches, so we went there. So anyways, in grade 11, I went there. I won a tournament. I won a tournament called the Northwest Regionals, which in the finals, I wrestled a guy that was getting a full ride scholarship to Oregon State. And I beat him up pretty good. So the coach at the Oregon State at the time was like, he was there watching because it's one of his recruits. So he's who's this kid? So I know he went up to my coach and was like, hey, like, who is this guy? Tell me about him. And my coach at the time was Garfield Gary, who was running our club at the time. And he told everything about him. They invited me down for the summer to a camp. And in the camp, I was wrestling their college guys in grade 11. I was beating them up. So then he's like, hey, we need to sign this guy. So they actually got me to sign a letter of intent right away. So I signed that in grade 12, November. I signed it right away. Like the earliest you could sign it, I signed it. Just because I was like, okay, like this is where I'm going, Oregon State University. So fast forward a few months in April, in my grade 12 year, my coaches take me down to Vegas. And it was a big Team DC type of thing. They will take us down to this tournament in Vegas. And this tournament in Vegas had two tournaments. One was like the high school tournament, and the other one was like a 21 and under tournament. So I wrestled the high school one, I win. And then the tournament director comes up to me. I think he was the USA Wrestling president or something at the time. Comes up to me and goes, hey, you can't wrestle tomorrow. You understand that? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. My coaches were telling me, you're wrestling tomorrow. This guy's coming up and telling me I'm not. I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's all good. So somehow, some way, they sneak me in. They register me under a club in the States. Okay. So they couldn't figure out that I was from Canada because Canadians aren't allowed to wrestle in that tournament. Okay. So they registered me under a club in the States and I made it through. But the funny story is that I didn't know I made it through. Everyone told me I'm not wrestling. So the day before, after I win that high school tournament, like I'm out with my brother, my other friends, and it's 11 p.m. We're just walking the strip in Vegas, not doing anything too bad. And then my coaches call me. My coaches, they go, hey, like, you're wrestling tomorrow. You need to go back to the hotel. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's 11 p.m. at night. I'm like, okay. So I go back by myself. I walk, I go to sleep. And I wake up and it's Vegas and everyone's busy doing their whole thing for the night. So I wake up 8 a.m. or 7, whatever it was. I wake up super early by myself, get my bag ready, go down, eat breakfast by myself, head over to the tournament by myself, no coaches yet. Start warming up by myself. Didn't have a partner to warm up or anything. And then the tournament starts and I'm at my first match and there's no coach in my corner. So I'm like, okay, let's just go with it. So there's no coach in my corner. So halfway through the match, my high school coach was there watching. He just came to watch, not coach us. He came to watch just me wrestle. And then he noticed there's nobody in his corner. So he steps in and sits in my corner. And that's how the tournament went. And I made it to the finals. I beat everybody up. And in the finals, I actually wrestled a guy named Adam Kuhn. Me and him had a lot of history throughout the years now. But at that time, so it's really funny. So as I was talking about the grade 11 year, I actually made the cadet world team that year. Okay. But it was my sister's wedding, so I couldn't go to the world championships. So this is a under 17 world championship, so I couldn't go. But Adam Kuhn won the world championships at that time. So as kids, we always thought if there's another kid who's my age from Russia or from anywhere, I'm going to beat him. There's no way a kid my age can beat me. That's just the way that we grew up. So this Adam Kuhn guy, he wins, and I'm like, I want to wrestle him. Where is he? Like, I'm trying to look for him. I'm trying to go to these tournaments in the States, trying to find him. Couldn't find him, right? Go to Vegas, fast forward 2 years. He's in the finals with me against me. So then he's the number one recruited kid in all of America, in all weight classes. So I end up winning the match, and I did it pretty well. And so after that, I stepped off the mat, and I couldn't tell you how many like college coaches, D1 college coaches came and just, it was like a circle of them. And they weren't allowed to talk to me, but they were talking to my friends. And they're like talking to my friends, they're like, hey, like they're trying to exchange numbers, phone numbers, doing this, that. It was really funny because they give you a really nice plaque after you win. Sure. And I thought they were going to take it from me. So I gave it to one of my friends, and my friend runs off with it because I thought they were going to take it from me after I won because I wasn't allowed to wrestle. Yeah. So they take it, they run off, and then they interviewed me after, and it's online and everything, and it was pretty funny. But I chose Oregon State at the end of the day. Yeah. That's quite a story. So I'm glad that you were able to cover that. So you choose Oregon State. Was it, I guess my question is, why did you choose Oregon? Like, why did they stand out as opposed to others? Yeah. When I was going into Oregon State that year, we were ranked 8th in the nation. So they were really highly ranked school. Mm-hmm. And it was also close by. It was on the West Coast. It was the only powerhouse Division I wrestling program on the West Coast. in America. And then also a big reason was the coaches actually came down, met with my family. They
Okay.
drove down 8 hours, drove down, came, had a meal with my family. My mom made, oh, Indian mothers are, she made 5 different courses,
Yeah, yeah.
appetizers, dinners, desserts, all of this. They thought the appetizer was actually the dinner. They still talk about it this day. They're like, we don't know how we ate that food. So then they came down to make an impression on my family, obviously, by doing that. And we trusted them at that point. And yeah, so big thing about trust and just family wise.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So it like seems like they definitely took that extra step to show you that they care about you, not just
Exactly.
as a body, but like actually as a person, which is
Yeah.
great. Because then I think that was a good decision on your part, because you then went on to become the Oregon State Male Athlete of the Year. You were also featured in three times in the All-Star American team as well. Can you talk to me about those experiences and your time at the university? What were some of your learnings?
Yeah, it just goes back to I was a kid in a normal South Asian household who left the house at 17 years old. I didn't even know how to do my laundry. I never did my laundry a day in my life. My mom did it,
Yeah,
catered to us like no other, right?
yeah,
It was just normal at that time. I didn't know any better. I never cooked a meal for myself in my life. So when I moved out when I was 17, it was a shock. Like it was a culture shock. I didn't know how to do anything. So
yeah, yeah.
it was a tough first year. First year was really tough. I always say this, I'm glad that I was pretty good at wrestling just because that helped me get through. Because education and all this, I wasn't good at balancing things at that time. I didn't know how to balance a full load of education and a full load of wrestling, and then having to do everything for myself because I was just catered as to a kid. I was a baby.
Yeah.
I was babied at the house. I was the youngest kid, and that's just what it was. And then I still remember going in there. I was trying to do my first load of laundry, and I didn't know how to use the machine. So I'm there, and then I moved into a house with 6 other people and 6 other teammates of mine, and I didn't know anybody. And I'm like asking one of the guys, hey, and that one guy was actually our team captain at the time, and me and him are best friends to this day.
Yeah.
And I was at his wedding and everything, and he's an amazing person. But let me show you how to do this. He just knew I didn't know what I was doing, and this is how you do it. And so I grew up a lot, you can say. I grew
Yeah.
up a lot. It taught me how to be a man at the end of the day, being by myself and doing what I needed to do, paying bills, doing whatever I need to get by. When a college kid, we get no money at that time. It was living paycheck to paycheck sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it forced me to grow up, but I'm grateful for the experience.
100%, right? And I can share my experience. Like I was in the same shoes when I first came to Canada. I did not know how to do anything. And like my mother, like your mother, typical brown moms, they were like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can do everything for you. So I don't know how to laundry. I don't know how to use a microwave. I don't know how to cook. So I was like, I actually didn't know how to use microwave. I figured that out. So I was like surviving on pizza pops for the longest time till I actually am like, hey, this is only going to last so long. I have to figure something else out.
We had a deal in college where like Little Caesars pizza,
Yeah.
it was like $5 for a large pizza.
Yeah.
So we would eat dinner. I would do this. I would save 4 slices for dinner, and then I would save 4 slices for the next day, just because I didn't know how to cook anything. I didn't have a car. I didn't know how to go get groceries. I did what I did to get by, but
I
food
don't
delivery saved me a lot.
I don't blame you for that, and I can totally relate to it. Just another question on the university thing, and this is like off track from the wrestling conversation, is
Yeah.
you took sociology in university. What interested you in sociology?
Yeah, I don't know if I can tell all the NCAA secrets here of how college kids, how Division One sport athletes get by in their college careers, education wise, but it was directed to me by my counselor.
Okay.
So in sports and in NCAA's, we have our own counselors for just academic counselors just for us, just for our team. So we had a dedicated person, and they asked me what I was interested. I was like, I'm not sure. They're like, hey, like everyone chooses sociology as a major. Why don't you look at that? And I was like, okay, sure. And that's how it went. So
Before we go to Tokyo, I actually want to touch on Rio. 2016 Rio Olympics. After winning the World Junior Championship in 2014, you were a hot contender to make it to 2016 as well. Unfortunately, at that time, you did not qualify. What was that experience like for you? How did you overcome it?
yeah, that was the hardest time in my life. Believe it or not, I had close family members pass and all this, but this was something else just because I took wrestling so seriously. Like I was so dedicated at the time, and I've had that goal since I was as long as I could remember. As long as I knew what wrestling was and what Olympics were, like that was my dream, and that's what I was told every day in my house and my club, and everyone around me, right? Rio was that's my chance. That's mine.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I didn't accomplish it, it was heartbreaking. It was the toughest time of my life, that's for sure. I had a lot of bad thoughts at the time. A lot of just woe me. I was down, depressed, sad. But then again, the people beside me uplifted me. It took me a long time to beat it out of my own head, like my coach. I just learned so much. There's always two ways to take things. There's one way you can go up. There's one way you can go down, right? For those 2-3 weeks after I lost, I was really far down.
Mm-hmm.
There were some bad times and stuff, and I went back home and I tried to regroup, and I went back to Oregon State after a week of going home, and I still couldn't cut it. Went home for another week, and then my coach said to me basically that night I lost was, hey, you just got to get back to it. He's just, don't think about it. He's like, just start wrestling again. He's come to practice next week. He's like, we'll just start training. It'll all be fine. I remember that night I told him I was in the washroom because there was a big party going on in our room for some reason. There was 10-15 people in there in our room, and me and my other guy, we were rooming with, one of my best friends, and who taught me everything I know in wrestling. Yeah. He actually lost that time too, right before I stepped on the mat, and I lost right after him. So we were both pretty soul crushed. And I remember there was just my family, my friends, and they're all in the room, and I was just like, I can't be around this. So I put on my joggers, put on my sweatsuit, and I went for a run. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, coach, I'm going for a run. And then in his head, he thought everything was fine. In my head, I just wanted to go alone and cry. Mm-hmm. So I went for a run. I think the whole way I ran, for 30 minutes, I just cried the whole time, running just somewhere in Edmonton. It was freezing cold. And then it was insane. Just looking back at it, I was crazy just because I was so dedicated. Yeah. I didn't know anything else besides that. Wrestling was my whole life, and it just meant so much to me at the time. I didn't know how to deal with that sort of failure. I failed multiple times in my life before that, but just something like that, it was just how you said, I was supposed to be the man at that time and I wasn't. It was just really hard to deal with. And then the people around me, they helped me a lot. They told me what I needed to hear at the time, and I got back to it, and everything was fine.
Yeah, you definitely recovered excellent way from that. What would you say? And I think you did mention that your coach asked you to just get back to practice. Would you say that was the advice that changed it for you? Or was there one particular advice that kind of turned it for you and you're like, no, I need to change how things are going?
Yeah, I think it was the two ways that I could take it. It was the way that I could go hit rock bottom, feel sad for myself, cry myself to sleep, or I could pick up my pants, put them on, and go and live my life, go do what's next. And it took me a while, like I said, I did the crying and whining for a while. I felt bad for myself. And it took me 2-3 weeks to get out of it, but I did. I pulled up my pants. I was like, hey, this is not what I want in my life. I'm going to go out there and still do what I need to do. Yeah. So I think it was that type of advice that, hey, there's two ways you can take this, really resonated with me.
Yeah. And just for context as well, you were super young at that age. What were you, 20 years old at the time?
Yeah, I was 20. I had really high goals for myself. I put a lot on my shoulders at a young age. I always carried a lot on me. I didn't coming from where we come from. Our culture is so small and so close knitted that there's so much pressure on us from when we're kids to when we're older to do something. It's not even just in wrestling, in education and business and work or something. Just not our parents, but the people expect us to be so great in something. And I took all of that and put it on my shoulders. And at that time, when something bad happened, I didn't know how to deal with it. I'm grateful that I do now, but at that, like you said, I was young and I was still a baby, and I didn't know how to deal with it at the time.
Yeah, in South Asian families in particular, average is not accepted. They want you to be above average at all times.
Exactly.
So from there, you obviously bounced back in a very strong way to then make it to Olympics in 2020. 2020 Tokyo Olympics obviously didn't take place in 2020. So what was your experience like making it to the Olympics? How big of a responsibility it was, and how was the overall experience?
Yeah, thinking back to it, it was awesome. It was a great time in my life. So after I graduated college in 2019, I went on to Ohio State. So that's where I am right now in Columbus, Ohio, training. That's when I joined the RTC Regional Training Center. And that's where I started my Olympic journey, training 4 years for the Olympics sort of thing. And the coaches here and the people around me here really helped me elevate my game. My biggest problem was mental. I knew everybody, I wrestled in practice or anywhere else, especially in practice. Like they knew that, hey, this guy's super good. Like I would beat everybody in practice, but in tournaments I would go and I wouldn't be consistent. Like I would just the pressure and then the fears, the nerves, they got to me a lot in tournaments and stuff. And I needed to know like how to overcome that. And I just didn't have the resources at that time until I got to Ohio State. That's when I met one of my really good coaches and good friends here, Travel Delagnev, who's in America. He's looked at he's number one here, like for mentally and just preparation, and he's a genius in that realm. And just wrestling, he's a genius. And so then, I spoke with him and I trained with him a little bit. And he told me when I first got here, he's multiple-time world medalist, Olympic medalist. And he told me, hey, like I've wrestled everybody, and you feel like better than everyone. Like you're just up there with everyone. So what's going on? I'm like, honestly, man, I have a tough time translating it to the mat, like to the competition when under the bright lights. And at that time, I didn't because I was still successful in my career. But to me, I knew that I had more to give. So then, and we worked a lot mentally on preparation and just self-talk and needing to know what like needs to be done and how to deal with pressure and the nerves. And that helped me a lot in my Olympic journey. Like the year before qualifying for the Olympics, like I had one of my best years. I had beat some guys I always lose to. I went everywhere. I went to a bunch of tournaments, did really well. I was competing well, feeling well. So when I qualified for Olympics, like, it wasn't a surprise to me. Just the year that the way it worked out, like I knew I was going to do this, and I knew I wasn't doing it in a dominating fashion. What threw me off was the year that I had to wait to compete at the Olympics. So that year was a tough year, and that's just not for me. That's everybody. But that's what threw me off there. But I was having a good time, and making my first Olympic team was amazing. But I was super happy for my family, just because there's something that we worked towards our whole entire life, and it was just something that we wanted to. Like my dad and my mom, and this was the goal for us, right? This is what they came to Canada for here. So give us a better chance at a life, and I'm glad I made something out of it at that time for them.
You should be extremely proud of that. What I wanted to just check in there. So you mentioned your coach at the time helped you with a few techniques to help you then with your nerves and your anxiousness, or just like on the mental level. Can you share what some of those techniques were? Like, what did you guys implemented in order for you to be more calm or get a better hold of your nerves?
Yeah, I would. So before that, I would always, a lot of matches or a lot of tournaments, I'd walk into saying, I'm the best. That's what I would tell myself. I'm the best. I deserve this. I put in the work. I put in so many years, so many hours. I sacrificed this. I sacrificed that. I deserve this win. But those were the wrong things to put in my head. That's not what you're supposed to think. Everybody trains that hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything different than anybody else was at that time. Like everyone trains. Everyone will work out. Right? Everyone sacrifices things to get to where they need to be. And I wasn't any different. But so those things telling myself was like holding me back, putting pressure on myself to accomplish this goal. Where instead of, I shouldn't have looked at the titles or the wins. I should have based everything on performance, how I performed that day, like how I did every second, every minute, were my hands in the right position? Was I moving my feet? Like all these small things in wrestling. And then what he helped me replace those thoughts was with hardest worker in the room. I'm here for the fight. So those are the things that he told me like to replace in my head. And those are the things I've been thinking these are the things I tell myself before I step on the mat, before I go and try to do something. I'm here for the fight. Fearless man wins the crowd, and I'm the hardest worker in the room. So those are the things that changed my mindset.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, because it's so beautiful, because it's a subtle change, but just that telling yourself what you're telling yourself can have such a major impact in how you then perform at such a big stage.
100%. Yeah, it's a game changer for me. And that's what I try to preach when I go to camps, or I try to talk to our kids and sort of thing. I try to preach this just because I know what they're going through, because I was there. I went everything that our kids back home go through. I did all of that. And I wish I knew these things earlier on, because I just would have been that much better. Those definitely are the things I try to preach.
Better late than never, right? That's how the saying goes.
Yeah.
So can you take me behind the scenes, Amar? Olympics is a big stage. Being an outsider, I've only heard about stories of Olympic villages being set, hundreds of athletes get together, everybody shares knowledge. What does that environment look like behind the scenes?
Yeah, sadly, it was COVID during that time, so we didn't. Yeah. I didn't get to experience the games full out. I've only heard stories about what real games look like, but it was still fun. We still had a blast. I still, with Team Canada and any sport really, we're allowed to take our personal coach and one other athlete training partner with us. So I took my coaches from here, Travelta, and one of my best friends, Morgan. And so we were in Tokyo, Japan for 3 weeks together. So we had a blast. The only sad part was they didn't let us leave 2 weeks beforehand. We were in a training camp in a small city called Mie in Tokyo, in Japan, which was an hour outside the Olympic Village, like by flight. They gave us a hotel there, and they gave us a bus to take us to a training facility. We were not allowed to step outside the hotel otherwise. So we weren't allowed to check out the city. We weren't allowed to go walk around. And we had 3 meals a day, and we trained twice a day. So I was in the best shape of my life, that's for sure, because we weren't allowed to do anything else. So but it was still an amazing time. The only thing that broke us was probably the same meals. We had the same meals. We had the same 3 meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 weeks, for 14 days. And my coach, like, he's very disciplined, super disciplined, doesn't eat like carbs or like does this whole keto thing and everything.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we would look forward to are pancakes in the morning. So we'd have pancakes for the morning. And he broke them. Like in the week, like after 11 days, he's like, I can't do this. He's like, I gotta eat pancakes. He just broke. That was tough.
That's crazy. Were there other factors as well? So you just mentioned that one factor. Were there other factors just with the Olympics being postponed and the COVID environment that kind of affected your preparation going into it and the time in the Olympics?
Yeah, for sure. Just that 1 year of uncertainty. Like we weren't sure, like people were saying it was going to happen. Then a newspaper article would come out saying Japan doesn't want they don't want the Olympics, ban it, cancel it. So there's a lot of ups and downs going in your head as an athlete, just thinking, hey, is this going to happen? Did I just spend 20 years of my life chasing a dream, and when I finally accomplished it, I'm not going to get a chance to compete?
Yeah,
that was soul crushing at that time. But to me, it was just like, keep training, right? Yeah. I'm not the one in charge of these games, and I have no power, no say. All I can do is just be ready when I need to be ready. So that's what I just did.
Yeah. After the Olympics, you then went on, you had a great 2022. You won the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. You also won the Pan American Championships in Acapulco. Can you walk me through those tournaments and what it meant for you to win the gold medals in there?
Yeah. So I think first was Pan Ams.
Okay.
Pan Ams first was a Pan Am win, which was awesome. I've always wanted to win Pan Am just because Canada and the Pan Americans it's Cuba, it's Canada, and it's USA, which are the big powerhouses in wrestling. But Canada's not really a powerhouse, but Cuba and USA is a powerhouse in wrestling. So whenever a lot of us, we always get medals there. We always get silver, bronze, something like that, but we always lose to Cuba or USA. So at that time, like I was like, hey, I knew I was one of the better guys on our team and ones that were doing this, and I could win this. When I did, it was an awesome feeling. I think it was like number 8 or number 9 in our Canadian history to win Pan Ams.
Nice.
So that was pretty exciting, and especially to do it at heavyweight, it was awesome. Just because I don't think Canada has a gold in heavyweight in wrestling at the Pan Ams ever.
Oh wow!
So I think it was really cool to do that. And then going on, fast forward a few months, I make the Commonwealth team and I head out to Birmingham, which was Commonwealth Games was awesome. That was my first games that I attended with every other sport. So the way that they did it and the way that England put it on, Birmingham did it, it was amazing. It was super fun. But in the back of my head, like I knew that I was gonna walk through everybody. Like it was probably it's Commonwealth Games, that's a big deal. Like it's awesome. But for wrestling and for me personally, like I knew that there was no chance that I wasn't gonna accomplish what I needed to accomplish. Yeah. It's actually pretty funny. I've never told this story, but I'll tell you. It's awesome, but I don't even know if I should say it.
Let's hear it.
We might have to cut it out at the end. But so I make the semifinals, and I'm wrestling a guy from India. And I felt, this story is nuts. So the India guy comes up to me, and he's talking to me. Everyone knows Punjabi and stuff. So he's talking to me. Yeah. And he goes, Punjabi, he goes, big bro. He goes, I need this. He goes, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, bro, I need you to let me win. He's like, my life will be set. You don't understand what my life will turn out to be because he was going to go on to beat the guy in the finals. He would have beat Pakistan in the finals. Mm-hmm. He just couldn't beat me. And he knew it at the time before the match. And he's like, just please, man. And I felt when he asked me, I felt so bad because I was like, in my mind, I thought about it. I was like, I told him this is exactly what I said to him. I was like, hey, if I had won this tournament before, if this wasn't my first time here, I would give you this. But right, I'm like, this is my first time. I can't. I know like this will like make your life in India and like you'll get promotion in your job or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I just can't. I'm sorry, man. And he just looked at me and he's okay. But I felt so bad when he asked me that.
That's crazy because, yeah, his life, if he goes to the final and he beats somebody from Pakistan, he will be celebrated for the rest of his life.
Oh, yeah, exactly. His life's going to be made. But yeah, that happened. And then it was a funny story out of it. And then I'm in the finals. And just the crowd in Birmingham, it was awesome. Mm-hmm. You would think that everybody in the fans knew me or knew was somebody there, was my family or friends or cheering me on. Yeah. I knew nobody in the stands. Yeah. I didn't know a single person. But all I heard when I went out there was SC. It was insane. And I don't know if it's because the India-Pakistan rivalry or whatever it was, but they came out pretty hard.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, just like having that, because they were the Indian fans there and you do have the Indian origin, right? You're still representing them and Canada as well. So I could just see that because I was watching that video as well where you did win that championship medal and I could see just the crowd going in the backgrounds there. So when you were at the podium with the gold medal, were there emotions running through? Were you like going back in time, recalling all the time that you've worked so hard to be here? What was running through your head?
To be honest, I always speak the truth. And Commonwealth Games to me was just another tournament. At the end of the day, it was something my dad wanted me to win. It was something my family wanted to win just because they came from India and they knew how big a deal Commonwealth Games were and everything. And at that time, I didn't even know it was a big deal. I found out after, like, how many people reached out to me, like, congratulations. I'm like, this was probably one of the easiest tournaments I wrestled. I know it wasn't supposed to be, but yeah. And I credit that. I only say that just because I don't want people to think that this is an easy tournament. It's a difficult tournament, of course. Mm-hmm. But I put in so much of my time, so much worth, so much into wrestling that I knew that, hey, like, this would be easy because I did all the things I did beforehand. Mm-hmm. Because I worked that hard for it. And that wasn't my ultimate goal, right? My goal is to get a medal at the Olympics and World Championships just because I hold myself to that standard and I know that I can. Yeah.
Once the preparation that goes into it. And as you said, if you've done your preparation, then you know what the results are going to look like and you can only control the controllable. Amar, my question to you is in terms of leading up to these tournaments, I guess it's a twofold question. So what does your training regimen looks like? And I know everybody asks you that question. So what I'm looking for is more specifics, right? What muscle groups are you training? What kind of exercises you are doing? And how does that differ to when you are in these tournaments? So now you're leading up to Olympics. How does that differ as compared to your regular training sessions?
Okay. If I can go back in my history, just because me and my friends were talking about this because we run the club now, the Khalsa Wrestling Club, and I want some of the kids in our community and stuff to understand what it takes sort of situation because I just don't see our kids putting in the work that I hate saying what we used to do. Yeah. But I hate when people say that as well, but it's true in this sense. Mm-hmm. So like in grade 7, I used to wake up at 5:30 in the morning before elementary school, and I used to put an hour of workout in. My dad I couldn't do that for myself. My dad woke me up and did this for me. Yeah. He forced me to do this. At that time, I didn't want to wake up at all, but he forced me every single day, every single school day, besides Saturday, Sunday, every single school day. I woke up an hour before I needed to get up and get ready for school, and I did my workout. And then I went to school and I did this from grade 7 to grade 10. And then at grade 10, my dad didn't need to tell me anymore. I was self-sufficient. I could do it myself. I knew what I needed to do by that point. Yeah. But I'm only saying this just for the parents who are listening and do listen to this, that it's your job till a certain point to take your kids and do what needs to be done if that's what they want to do. Like a real conversation with your kid is, hey, is this what you want to do in your life? Yes. Okay, now this is what it's going to take. Now I'm going to help you do this until you can do it yourself. Because that's really what it takes. Until the kid can do it himself. So anyways, now I'll fast forward. That's my little tangent I like to go on, just give kids some...
That's a good thing, because I think it's very important, because we focus on the kids, but I think the focus should be on the parents, especially at that age, because they're reliant on the parents. So the parents need to show them that they're serious about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not... so people always love saying overtraining. Overtraining is a thing, 110%. When you're older, not when you're a kid and you have the most energy in the world. Overtraining is not a thing. You can do it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the theory of you're 14 and you can't do 2 workouts a day. You're fine. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to kill you. You'll be fine. Now, when you get older in my age, yes, overtraining is a thing. When you get older, it's a lot harder. So now my training regimen now is, it's not like what anybody else, like everyone else does the same too. I don't think it's any different. It's 2-a-days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I work out once, Thursday I work out twice, Friday I work out twice, Saturday once, Sunday off. Now that's how a week works out for me. Now I wrestle. A wrestling practice, I wrestle 5 times a week. I'm on the mats, and then I'm lifting 4 times a week, and I'm conditioning. Depends on how far the tournament is. If there's a tournament close by, I'm only conditioning once or twice a week, and then if it's quite a while still, I'll try to get in 3 conditioning workouts, and then it's nothing special. Like I have a strength coach. We work on a lot of explosive movements, a lot of wrestling specific movements where I need to move another human body and how I need to control it and where I need to explode from and when I need to do that. So we work on a lot of those. And then like to get better at something, like you have to do that a lot. So if I was a power lifter, I would have to lift those weights a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a wrestler. Like I need to be on the mats a lot. And they always say that you need 1,000 reps before you can actually master something. And I totally believe that. Like the things that I'm good at, I've spent hours and hundreds of hours at these small positions where I'm so secure that if I get in this position, I know I'm going to win from here. Just because I know I've spent so much time here, I'm comfortable in it. So it's like where I think, like one of my coaches has told me this before too, is it's not 20 minutes, it's not 30 minutes you spend in this little position or you spend on something and then you move by and you don't think about it for a week or another week comes by. Okay, let me do this work position, let me do this again. It's not that. You count at some point, you have to count your hours and how much time that you actually spent doing that one thing. And that could be anything. That goes for everything. For wrestling, it's me in positions. For people in education, it's what tests they're getting ready. For business, it's what they need to master to go into do their plan. I feel like that just goes around all over the board.
Yeah. You're not perfect on day one. You have to put in the work day in, day out to really get good at it. So I guess a follow-up on that is we talked about your physical aspect of training. You compete in the heavyweight category for weight class. What does your nutrition looks like? How much is your calorie intake? I know we were talking about it initially. You said you get pre-ordered meals. What does that look like? What's the most important thing for you in the meal? How do you manage it?
Yeah, I've always been kind of considered like the lighter lighter in my weight class.
Okay.
Just because there's big guys over the world, and as I got older, my weight just started dropping. It's a lot of baby fat.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter right now. I walk around like 250, 255. That's usually where I walk around at, and our weight class goes up to 275. So I give up around 20 pounds or so, and maybe a little more sometimes. But my meals are pretty consistent. I'll always do 2 meals that are healthy, for sure healthy throughout the day.
Yeah.
Which is like chicken, rice, broccoli, something. But then my last meal is something that I'll enjoy. And it's like Subway or it's pizza, stuff like that. Like I don't eat terribly, but nutrition is one thing that's always been a little hard in my life to control, just because who doesn't want to enjoy food? Like who doesn't want to put on a movie, sit there and order a box of pizza?
Yeah.
That's every athlete in the world. If they're 100% lying if they do that, unless they're just total psychos. Like if you don't want to enjoy food, then I don't know what's up. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you're Punjabi, right? Being Punjabi, we're like so big on food. It's a huge part of who we are.
I told my sister-in-law that. I was like, the only thing you'll ever fight with, my parents are amazing. The only thing you'll ever get an argument with my parents about is food. Like they're gonna push food on you.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, have you ate? And then 2 hours later, have you eat yet?
Yeah.
And 3 hours later, they'll be like, do you want to eat something to eat? And you're just like, throughout your whole day, you're just going crazy. But that's the only thing you'll ever argue about.
That's lovely. Amar, let's shift gears and kind of talk about like a setback in your career, something that was a really challenging part of your career, and that's your injuries. You had 3 ACL over 6 years, 2 reconstructive surgeries. You were out for a lot of time because of those injuries. How did that affect you? How did you overcome? What was that period like?
Yeah, it was difficult. Like I said, like my story has always been the hard road. I've never had the easy way out. Like it could just never be easy for me. Yeah. Every bracket's hard. Things just come in my life. And that's just how everyone's life is. And when I first had my first ACL tear, was really bad. I cried a lot. I was like me, same situation when I lost the 2016 Olympics. I thought my career was done at that time just because it was like ACL. Like it was a big deal. Right? I missed the whole season, missed the whole year of wrestling. I was off the mats for seven months or so, and then I come back and I wrestle a year, and then I tear it again. And now the second time, I'm just like I'm done. I told my coaches at that time, I was like, hey, like I think maybe this is a sign. Maybe I just shouldn't be doing this. Like my body's not allowing me to do this. My mind's still healthy, but my body's just not letting me do it. And then like I depended a lot on my family and my coaches and the support system, like I was telling you about, just the people around me, just to uplift me and keep telling me like, hey, you can do this. This is. My brother wrote a quote. He got me this massive water jug, right? He wrote this quote on it for me, and it was, "You didn't come this far to only make it this far."
Beautiful.
Or something. It was something like that. It went along to like that, and I looked at that, and I chugged my water every day, and I got through those hard physio days of just putting in 2 times physio a day, and kept myself mentally like there. Like I focused on what I could control. I could control like what I ate, what I put in my body. I could control like how big I got. I could control like how much I work out, lift, and do the things that I was able to do just because I had great doctors and great trainers at the time. They could tell me like, hey, do this, do that, and I would do it to the full extent. I remember I would be sitting at home and I would just have dumbbells. I would have 10-pound dumbbells just sitting there like beside my bed, and I'd be watching TV, and the whole time I'm just doing this, just pumping as much as I could. Where I'm doing I'm always doing something. So I kept myself in shape like that, and it happened. And then fast forward another 6-7 months later, I tear it again. So then it's the same story again. Same story. Like I'm done. Like I was like, I'm done with this. I can't do it again.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was my 2018 year in October of the season. And at that time I was like, hey, like I can't do another 6 months surgery. Like I'm not going under the knife again. I just can't. And my coaches are like, okay, let's just try it. Just leave it. We'll just take out your ACL. We'll take out your meniscus. Whatever is dingling around in your knee, we'll take it all out with a scope, and we'll see if you can still wrestle. I was like, okay, fine. So they took me under. I scoped everything out, took out all my ACL, all my meniscus, and it was a hard 2 months of physio and training. But my body, I'm not sure if it adjusted or whatever it was, but it adjusted to like having no ACL and no meniscus in my knee, and I started wrestling again, and I was able to wrestle, and I took third at the NCAAs, which was really big for me. And then, I went on, and since 2018, I've had little issues, but nothing crazy. I've been blessed in that sense. But I remember my doctors at that time, they're like, hey, if you don't get surgery and you keep wrestling, by the time you're 30 or 40, you're not going to be able to walk. Like, you're going to need a knee replacement at 35.
Wow.
And I was like, at that time, I was like, we'll deal with it when I get there. Now I'm getting closer to that, so hopefully I'll be okay.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And that's like really incredible story, and just talks about the kind of determination and the grit. That's what I said at the very start of the show. That just speaks volumes about not just your grit and determination, but everybody around you as well. Like everybody who supported you and believed in you to bounce back and come full fold. So yeah, like kudos to you to never give up on that dream. I guess what I wanted to ask you is the mental aspect of it, going back and forth. How hard was it at that time for you?
It was a lot of conversations because I was still in Oregon at the time and my family was still in Surrey. There was a lot of conversation over the phone of, hey, like me telling them basically, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. Them telling me, no, you will do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, there was a lot of going back and forth. They supported me, whatever my decision was at the time. And a lot of it was just telling me that, hey, like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like things happen for a reason, like that sort of stuff. And I always, ever since 2016, I hated that things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
But since I've had this long career and I am where I am today, I feel like it does. Just because if something went different in my life, like I wouldn't be here today. And there's a lot of things that could have went different, obviously, in my life. And so they supported me, whatever my decision was. And my coaches always told me this, and I figured this out after a long time, that the hard decision for me was usually the right decision. So it would have been easy going home. That would have been an easy decision for me, going home and sitting at my house and on my nice comfortable couch, sleeping in a nice bed, having 4 or 5 meals a day with my mom cooking. Like that would have been an easy life.
Yeah.
But I chose the hard route where I stayed where I was, put in the work, the effort, and day in, day out, just did what I needed to do at that time.
Yeah.
So I learned that a hard way for me was usually the right way.
100%. I think usually it's the hard way is the right way for pretty much everybody. It's usually the hardest, toughest choices that makes for the best outcomes.
Yeah, it's like consciously that you need to do this, but it's a hard decision to make because it's hard.
Yeah. So your prep, because of those injuries, does your prep change going into the competition? Do you do things differently? Are you wary of those injuries coming back again?
Yeah, I got this question a lot when I was in college. Everyone asked me that, like, how do you still deal with it? Just because a lot of people, after they have injuries, like, they're just not sure of themselves. Mm-hmm. They lose confidence in that area where they used to be good at, or they're just not the same person at what they used to be. Luckily for me, like, I had such good doctors and such good trainers around me at the time, mm-hmm. where, like, every time I got hurt, I came back stronger. Like, I was a better wrestler at that time. Like, it's weird to say, but I became better. And I think it's because I did the little things really well at that time. For those 6-7 months, I was always hurt. Like I was saying, I did everything I could. I ate right. I lifted like an animal. I did whatever I needed to do. Whatever the small things was. I used to carry around the hand, this thing that you squeeze with your hand. I would just carry that around just because my legs were hurt and I couldn't do anything with my left leg or my right leg. Yeah. I could do things with my hands and my arms and my neck. So it made everything else stronger in my mind. I think those little things helped me out a lot.
What I want to ask you next is more of a sort of a controversial topic in the world of wrestling, and that lies around the term of doping. It's pretty evident in the wrestling world. Can you walk us through exactly what is your understanding of doping? How is the Canadian circuit or the wrestling world affected by it?
Canadian circuit isn't really affected too much just because we get tested an insane amount. Mm-hmm. I just had people at my door a month ago, all the way in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
And this has been happening since I was 18 years old. So they used to come out to Oregon State all the time. Yeah. And so that's where I learned, hey, like our Canadian athletes are really well tested. Yeah. So if anybody wanted to cheat, it would be really tough. But like to answer your question, and not just in wrestling, but I know wrestling specifically, everyone's doping in every other country. Like America and Canada is really good at just testing their own athletes, but I can guarantee you that in my 16-man bracket at the Olympics, maybe half or maybe a little less than half are probably doping.
Oh, wow.
Maybe more. There's just no, or that have doped at that time. Like it's an interesting topic just because there's so much science around it. Mm-hmm. And these teams that like just in Canada, wrestling's not a huge sport. Mm-hmm. And we understand that. But in other parts of the world, like this is their football. This is their NFL. This is their NHL. Like wrestling's, like, that's their major sport. And so it funnels a lot of money. So with a lot of money comes a lot of doctors, a lot of scientific articles and all this stuff. So they get a lot more opportunity. And and at that time, I think they just don't think it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. They don't think doping's a big deal. They don't think making the fair play is a real thing. Mm-hmm. But in competitions like nowadays, it's a lot harder to get to test negative just because are like, I know WADA and all these agencies are making a lot more testing, a lot more like advances in that section. Mm-hmm. But it's a part of the game, like where you're going to deal with it. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. And the ones that cry about it, like it's too bad for you. Like, you just deal with it. Yeah. I've dealt with it my whole life. I'm wrestling guys at the highest weight class. These guys they're 270 pounds, straight 8-pack, all muscle, no fat on them. And you're like, what is this? Yeah. But it's something you deal with and you have to get past. And it's a part of the game. Yeah. Right. And that's not even just in our sport. That's everywhere.
True. So I guess my flip to that would be, and this would be more in context of our Punjabi kids or South Asian kids, especially in Canada. Yeah. What would your advice be? Why would you suggest that they stay away from doping? And how can it affect them in a negative way in long term?
Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, like a guy that takes steroids and a kid that puts in the work and does what he needs to do every day. There's so many examples in our community that have. Mm-hmm. I'm not just the only one. Mm-hmm. But that kid was going to be much better just because wrestling is not a game about strength. Mm-hmm. It's 75% mental and it's 25% physical. That's our game. Mm-hmm. That's literally what it is. If I have better technique than you, focus on the little things. This whole wrestling context now, it's like focus on the little steps, focus on where your hands need to be, hand fighting, where your position needs to be. You're going to beat that guy. Take the right road, take the long road. There's no shortcuts, that's for sure. I'm 28 years old. I've been doing this forever now, and I feel like I've only in the last few years I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish in the sport. So It takes a while.
Amar, you've been in the Canadian wrestling circuit for some time now. If you were to make some changes in terms of how the wrestling circuit is set up today, what would those changes be? 2, 3, and why?
Yeah, I think number one would be that we do a terrible job at appreciating our own. We don't appreciate the ones that came before us or the ones that are current. And I'm not just saying that just because I am where I am now, but I say that in our province a lot too, and I speak about it, where it's about the ones that came before us. Those are the ones that they should be acknowledged. They should still be in the sport, but we don't keep our retired athletes. Like every other country, like in the States and Cuba, everywhere else you look, that past Olympic champs, past Olympians, past whatever provincial champs, they stick around in the sport and help the sport get better. But our athletes, after they retire, they go off and do different things. And I know the economy is hard and there's not a lot of money in wrestling in Canada, and that's a big factor to it financially wise. Like they won't get much out of it. But I also think that they don't feel appreciated at the end of the day. Like I can tell you my personal experience. Like I always want to talk to guys before me. Like the guys that did before me, I would love to pick their minds, see what they did right, see what they did wrong, that sort of situation. But you never see them because they never get invited to events, never get invited to camps, never get invited to talk. Those are the ones that we need to keep around in the sport to make this sport better at the end of the day. And that's a huge issue that we have. That's number one there. Number two is like financially. Like we're just, and I know like wrestling is not a big sport in Canada, and if you want to play sports, Canada's not the place to be. It is what it is at the end of the day. Unless you're an NHL or hockey player, then you'll probably do pretty well. But any other sport, like this isn't the place to be. But so like we need financial support. If it's from our government, I'll tell you about our government funding, like our Canadian carding. That's what it's called. Yeah. It's $17.50 a month for a senior athlete like myself.
Wow,
that's how much we get paid.
That's it.
$17.50 a month. Now you want us to train full time and go get medals for our country, go win the Olympics, go win whatever, when we can't even afford rent.
That's crazy.
When we can't put a roof over our heads with $17.50, and you want us to go out there and do what we pay for gas, pay for a car, pay for training, all this sort of stuff on our own. But and then at the end of the day, you expect, then people hate on why, you didn't win. Oh, why didn't we get a medal here? We don't ever get golds or we never get bronze. It's because we get $17.50 a month. No athlete wants to do this after the age of 20. Because they understand that, hey, I can't support my family at the end of the day. Yeah. Only reason I'm here today is because of my family. I'm fortunate enough that I grew up in a household that we're not well off at any point. Yeah. But they take care of me at the end of the day. Yeah. They know what I wanted to do in my life and they supported me. Only reason I'm here is because of them. And the opportunities that I've got lucky, and I've been in the States. And that's one of the reasons I'm sitting in Columbus, Ohio today. Like, I would love to be in Vancouver training. In my home country, I would love it. We just don't have the facility. We don't have the training. We don't have the coaches. And we don't have the financial support.
Yeah, that's almost ludicrous. Not almost, that is ludicrous. $17.50 a month. Does that even equate to like minimum wage if you do the math on it?
Yeah. And then that's what you want your high performance athletes to be. Like
I'm shook right now. So yeah, that definitely is I would say the top of the list. The change that they need to make is the financial funding to get more people into the sport of it, to create that kind of culture.
Yeah. And I know that's not for just wrestling. That's for every amateur sport, like rowing, swimming, all these guys, and girls. That's how much we all get paid if you're at the top of your sport.
Wow.
And so I've heard stories about guys training sleeping in their car, just so they can train the next day, or they can go off and find a better place to train. They'll sleep in their car just because they can't afford a house or rent an apartment for a few months. Or I know guys that put themselves in debt just so they can go and attend a tournament for Canada, representing Canada at the end of the day.
Wow.
But that's only because they love the sport so much that they'll go into financial debt. Most people, they don't want to, after you're 18, 19 years old, I look beside me, I see my friends making lots of money or buying nice things or doing fun things like that. And you look at yourself and you're like, wow, I have nothing in my pocket.
Yeah.
So that's,
you almost question your decisions at that point. And then to top it off, right? So talk about your story when you run into those hard situations where now you have injuries and now you're really questioning your life decisions at that point. Did you make the right choice or not?
110%. There's so much that goes through your mind. And it's not just me. I know it's a lot of sports and a lot of athletes they're trying to do big things in their sport. The things, and it comes back to all these things piling up in your head and then trying to deal with them one by one. And it gets a lot, for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully we get the message across to the designated party so that they can make the changes that are required for everyone.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can fight that fight better when I'm done with the sport, but
yeah,
for sure, that's something I would advocate.
So, Amar, next on, I wanted to check your involvement with the Vancouver Police Department. How are you involved with them? What's that experience like? What does it mean for you to be associated with them?
Yeah, so I'm a constable. I got hired on about a little over a year ago now.
Yeah.
So I went through all the academy and all that sort of stuff. And in the academy, I was still training like full time just for wrestling as well, just because I knew I still wanted to make another run at the Olympics. But they were super supportive. Our leadership is amazing. They from the get-go, they knew that I wanted to do this, and they were super supportive of me doing this. And I'm grateful that they let me go on and take a year off from the job and from the career and go off and try to accomplish my personal goals. And I'm glad that I could represent the department at the end of the day as well, bring them up as well with me. Yeah, it's a great, the Vancouver Police Department. It's a great place to be.
That's awesome. Who do you consider the top wrestler in the circuit today?
In Canada?
In the world or in Canada? Let's do both. Let's do Canada and let's do the world.
In Canada, it's hard to say. In the world, I would say in my weight class or anywhere.
Anywhere.
There's so many good athletes right now. There's so many good ones. It's so hard to say who's the best.
Who would you love to?
Like
I would say I would even add like a context to it. So somebody that you would like to compete, let's say in a final, and you would really like to take them down. Who would that athlete be?
Oh, then I want to beat one of my rivals.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a guy from Iran, Zore.
Okay.
Or from Turkey, Taha. He's the one that beat me at the 2020 Olympic Games, my first match.
Okay.
He was a reigning Olympic champ in 2016.
Okay.
Those two are definitely guys that I would want to go up against. And we wrestle, like I've said, it's a very long career, so I've wrestled a lot of these guys again and again. And those are the guys who always come first, second, third. Those are the guys to beat. So going to the Olympics, I know I have to beat one of them to get a medal. Yeah. So there's no doubt that I need to do that.
So next up, the kid from Surrey is now on the international world stage. How has that changed you as a person, if at all?
No, I don't think it's changed me. I'll tell you what my coach said would help me get ready for the Olympics as well. Yeah. He asked me a question. So if you won Olympic gold, like what would be so different about your life? What would you do so differently? Mm-hmm. And I really thought about that question. I'm like, nothing would change in my life. I'd still be hanging out with the same people I hang out with. I'm still going home to my family that loves me at the end of the day. I'm still gonna go and play tennis on my off time. We're gonna go and watch a movie together, me and my family, me and my friends. I'm gonna be the same person at the end of the day. Nothing really is gonna change about my life. So then he asked, so what's the big deal of it? I'm like, that is so true. So that just put so much in perspective for me. I was like, at the end of the day, like I still have people that love me. It doesn't matter win or lose. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's one thing that for sure changed me after that question. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. But do you think people treat you differently, especially after your gold medal in Commonwealth Games?
I don't really know. To be honest, I'll tell you the honest truth. I'm not the one to go out and meet a lot of people, shake a lot of hands. That's just never been me. I've never really been like fake to myself. Yeah. What I'm talking to right now, that's just who I am in general. And I don't go out in public and make a lot of new friends sort of situation. I keep my tight circle tight. And that's not just because I want to or whatever. It's just, this is how my life has worked out. And so I honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you just because I don't know that many people. Yeah. I know that people know me. Yeah. I know it is part of the job, whatever. Yeah. But I don't think I am any sort of celebrity at all. I think I'm just a normal guy that loves going to the gym, loves playing tennis, goes and plays soccer with his buddies. I do the normal things.
Yeah. You're being really modest there because I can tell you that people look up to you and you're definitely a role model. Amar, going back to Khalsa Wrestling Club, in your understanding of it, what impact does the wrestling club had made in the community of Surrey and Metro Vancouver?
Yeah, I think we made a huge impact. Mm-hmm. Like just the number of kids that have came through our program, like since 1970s, I can only say that we've had thousands of people come through our programs that are like, and I know a lot of these guys who are like very well off, very, very prominent members of our community who are doing great things in business and in everything. So I'm grateful that we've had such a good community and we've been able to produce such amazing people at our club. And our club motto has never been like, it's not that you join our club and you're going to be an Olympic champ, or you're going to be an Olympian, or you're going to be a world champ. That's not it. Like our club motto is, not everyone's going to be a world champ, but we can try our best to make every person a great human being. So we don't only teach wrestling. We try to indulge like the ideas of being a good person and what that takes, and what making the right decision in your life, not leading into the negatives, because there's so much negative going on in the world right now. Trying to be the positive in the world, and just in the world. And I say just within your own family, within your own community, within your own school. So we try, and I know that the club has done such a great job of that, just because we're still around and we're doing really well. Right, we've been around for so long. We're still a non-profit. Yeah. We've never made a business out of this, where I know a lot of clubs have, and that's just the economy that we live in nowadays. But we've been super blessed in the sense that we've been able to keep it a non-profit and keep the club fees low, and been able to take in any kids that we can. And I know that my dad from the get-go, like, we never charged kids to come to a club and train in situation, just because he was the one coaching, so we never took a penny, and our rent was free at that time too, so we didn't have a problem. So I commend all this to him, just because he did because now I'm older, and we're all older, and we understand like how busy life is, and like how much time and how much effort it takes to go to a club for 4 or 5 times a week, and you're training kids for 2 hours a day, and it's like those 2 hours could be spent trying to earn for your family, trying to be with your own kids, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to spend time alone. So it's just crazy to think about like how much time and effort the generation before us put in, and it's like the generation now, like we barely have a minute to ourselves. I know my brother and my family and my friends, they do a lot of the work back home for the club right now. It's like they're trying to scrounge for every minute they can find, just to get things done. The club has been great, and we hope it gets better. And we always have a back and forth political problem with the club right now, and it's just because we're always fighting with the city, just trying to get more time or more space, and just trying to like reduce our like rental fees. So we have a lot of issues going on. But that's something that's going on for years. So
interesting. Yeah, I can't even imagine. And the reason I asked you that question is just to shed some light on what it really takes to run a not-for-profit like that for 50 some years. The day in, the day out, the hardships, the challenges, and still be there strong. Like a lot of tears and sweat goes into it.
100%. It's like our club is like a family. It's amazing just because the amount of connections that we've made through this club is tremendous. And we all treat each other like families, run like a family. We don't have a president that makes all the decisions. We don't have board members that speak out. Like everybody gets an equal say of what happens in the club and what direction it's going to. So that's like the number one thing I love about our club. So it's not one person, it's not a dictatorship, right? It's everybody comes and everyone talks, and they talk about what we need to do with the club and what direction we want to take it. Okay, like my kid's doing this, like how can we help? Like those are the sort of questions that we get asked a lot, and it's grateful just because we have so many people that like in their professions that they're doing so well in their job, and that's what line of work that we work with, like police officers, we have lawyers, and so we have a lot of people that work in like social work and stuff like that. So we have a lot of opportunity to give these kids. So we try our best to do that.
Amar, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self, knowing everything that you know about life now?
I would definitely say, take it easy. Don't take it that serious. Find the fun in things. Take it down a notch and try to find what you love about the sport. Find your why. Like, why are you doing this at the end of the day? And that's one of the big things that I found later in my life of why I wanted to do this and stuff. And it's something that's helped me tremendously in my career so far, and just got me as good as I am today. And it's something that I want to give back to in the future, and just let them know that, hey, like, at the end of the day, like, this sport it takes over your life in a sense, but it's not everything. I use this explanation where it's not mine. I stole it from my coach. But he says wrestling is a sport like no other, just because the hardship that we have in our life, it really relates to wrestling, in the sense that if you wrestled or when you wrestled, when a failure happens, it feels like death. It feels like death of a family member. Like how my 2016 one was relating to that sort of stuff. Like that's really like how it felt. Like it felt it was dream crushing, soul crushing. So then when you have those type of failures on the daily, it makes you a tougher person at the end of the day. So Like he's told me this one thing about a water bottle, and he's like, we fill up the water bottle with water in it, and we throw some dirt in there. He's like, the dirt always sinks to the bottom, right, and the rest of the water is clear. And most of your life, it's clear. That's where your life looks like, the clear water. And then every so often they shake it. Somebody shakes the bottle, and that's your life. Oh. So your life gets it's dirt, water, so you can't see through it, and that's what wrestling is. Like you don't like in 2016 when I lost Olympic trials, I didn't know what my life was going to be. Like I was lost for weeks. But like wrestling helped me deal with that sort of stress where if something like that had normally came up in my life when I didn't wrestle, who knows how long it would have taken for me to recover. But since I did wrestle and since I did go through hardship and so many failures, I was able to bounce back just as quick.
I love that analogy of the bottle and the dust and just shake it up a little bit, because that's really what life is like.
Yeah, you don't know when that shake's gonna happen. When someone's gonna come and shake the bottle.
Yeah, but it's gonna keep happening. That's for sure. That's a given.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Amar, when you're not wrestling or you're not working out or preparing for your competitions, how do you recover? What keeps your mind off of wrestling?
Yeah, I have a really good friend group, and we hang out a lot. We go for a lot of dinners. We play a lot of soccer, a lot of tennis. I like to do all that. I'm pretty active outside of wrestling. And then I'm a big movie buff. Okay. My favorite thing is to go to the theater, watch movies. That's my big thing. I hang out with my family a lot. I have a little niece that I love a lot. She's amazing. She's a little over 2 now, and she runs the household. And so I try to spend as much time as I can with her when I'm not training. But it's been a busy time just getting ready for the Olympics and trying to make the team and all that. So I was out here for a while. But a lot of times, like when I call home, I talk to my father a lot. Yeah. And he loves talking about wrestling. Wrestling is his life. He knows everything that's going on in the world about wrestling. So every time he starts talking about wrestling, I'm like, Dad, like, let's change the topic. Let's talk about something else. Yeah. Like, I live this daily. Like, I don't want to live it now.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you said you're a big movie buff. What's one movie that you would recommend everybody to watch and why?
When people ask me what's your favorite movie, like, you just can't. When you're a big movie buff like me, like you have like a top 10, top 20. I love movies that have got like a 3.0 star out of 10 on the IMDb. Like that. Like those are that's something that'll stick out to me. And
let's do top 3 then.
Any 3. Let's go. I just watched 2 days ago. I was doing the Iron Man stuff again. So I'll say the first Iron Man. I love that. Really, really good.
I love Iron Man.
That one's great. The first one's great. I love those. And then number 2, I have to like the Harry Potter series is I'm a big buff Harry Potter guy. So I'd say Harry Potter for sure. And then number 3, I love our Brown movies. I love our Brown movies. Like I'm a big Brown movie. If we're gonna go back to originals, I have to say probably that's probably number 1. It's been a while. I might watch that actually this weekend.
There you go. It's one of those OG movies. Like everybody knows about it.
Oh, yeah.
Amar, if you could put anything on a billboard for the entire country of Canada to see, what is your message going to be and why?
The entire country of Canada to see. I would probably say support your homegrown athletes. That's something I would mention. For the entire country to see on a billboard, it'd have to be something meaningful at the same time and connecting right away. Something eye-catching. That's a tough one.
Any favorite quotes that you live by?
Oh, my quotes. I love my quotes one. I have lots of those. This one is, "A fearless man wins the crowd." That one resonates with me a lot. And then I like "Be the try-hard in the room." That's also another good one. I love telling that to our kids and stuff. Put up your hand in the classroom. Like, bug the teacher. Be annoying. It shows you want to get better, and that's what I always tell our kids at our camps or wrestling or whatever. Ask questions. Like, don't be shy. Be the try-hard. Like, it's okay to try hard.
Amar, you are going to be representing Canada in a few months here at the Olympics in Paris. What is the preparation looking like? Are you doing anything extra? What's going on to the lead up to Olympics?
Yeah, I'm back in Columbus, Ohio training. So I got back here last week and I'll be here for another month or so. And I'll go back home for a week, take some time off and come back. That'll just be the regiment for the next few months training up till then. But it's more just taking care of my body. I talked to my strength coach and he was like, "Do you want to switch anything up?" And I was like, "No, I felt good. Like this whole year I've been feeling good." And he was like, "Yeah, I think so too. I think it's more important for you to stay healthy than be able to lift 50 more pounds in a deadlift or in a squat. It's more important to stay healthy at this time. You want to feel your best walking into Olympics. And obviously bruises and bumps are going to happen on the daily, but stay away from injuries, focus on what you can control, and just put my head down and work."
Yeah. Amar, this podcast or this conversation of ours is mostly catered towards immigrants and South Asian immigrants in particular. You belong to an immigrant family yourself. So you know or you understand the hardships that goes into being an immigrant. What is your advice? Because Canada, we're welcoming so many more immigrants over the next few years as well. What is your advice to, I guess, the people coming into this country? What do you want to tell them? What is your message for them?
Yeah, I would say that anything that you put your mind to you can achieve. Realistically, if you put your mind to, I want to make this certain amount of money, and write out your game plan, figure out a goal, and do what needs to be done to accomplish that goal. Now that's a day in and day out situation. So I'd say be consistent. Be consistent in anything that you do. If it's education, be consistent in going to school, doing your exams. If it's working, be consistent at work, be on time, work hard. Or if it's sports or anything like that, it's consistency is what gets it done in the long run.
Yeah, so be consistent. That's a perfect message. Amar, I know that you're going to Olympics. That's happening in a few months from now. But what are your long-term plans, if any? What can we expect from you in 2 years, 5 years? Where do you see yourself after your Olympics is done?
Yeah, well, hopefully I'm keeping the neighborhood safe at night. But besides work and policing, I'm excited for that. But besides that, I want to be helping our community in some way, in some way, however I can. Like I always say, I'm happy to do anything if somebody asks. Like I'll take out my time to do interviews, to talk with kids or whatever it needs to be. It's more about just me, just because those are things that like make me happy at the end of the day and fulfill me. Like I've learned with running the wrestling club and trying to help kids and stuff like that. That's just something I enjoy, and like I'll never go away from it. So it's just not our kids. Like I want to help everybody in our province and BC, and just try to uplift our sport at the end of the day and be a leader, in some role that I can in our sport, and try to make it more popular and have more kids join and just be a positive role model at the end of the day. And I always say at the end, like anybody that wants to reach out to me, please do. I'm happy to help in any way. Like I've been through a lot of things in my life, and I think I have a few things to offer, and I know you can learn from anywhere. So I'm happy to learn from you. I hope you're happy.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's very well said, Amar. I think you're perfectly positioned to be that ambassador, to be that role model for our community and for our country as well. It's been a pleasure here talking with you today, just learning about your story, learning about all the challenges that you have went through and the strong resolve that you have. I really hope that anybody who's listening to our conversation would be able to pick up those actionable bits and then implement in their lives to make a change. Before I let you go, though, any final message, any parting thoughts for myself and the listeners?
For yourself, thank you for reaching out. I appreciate it, man. It was an awesome conversation. I know you're going to go off and do great, big things like you already have been. You're doing a great job. So thank you for highlighting our members around the community.
Thank you. We'll leave it there. Just know we'll be on the sidelines rooting for you on that mat in Olympics. Thank you, Amar.
Thank you.